Today I'm breaking down the recording template of one of the most in-demand engineers and mixers, Bainz. Bainz has worked with many of today's heavy hitters, however he's primarily known for being the right-hand recording and mixing engineer for Young Thug and his record label. It's important to note that Bainz's recording and mixing process are both two separate things. From the video you can obviously see that Bainz has a super nice studio with tons of nice outboard gear that it uses on mixes, but a lot of this stuff is definitely not applicable to the recording process. When recording, Bainz is known for using industry standard equipment like the Sony C800G and the Neve 1073, usually going into an Apollo interface, although recently he has been working with Pro Tools to advertise their new interface, Pro Tools Carbon, which I assume he now uses. Another mic he is a huge advocate for is the Townshed Sphere. He seems to use this more in environments like when he's recording in a control room or in any untreated area like a hotel room.
The room had a lot of a tail, like a lot of natural reverb, if you call it. So I picked the Townsend Sphere, and if you see over here, I'm using like it's not exactly a figure eight. That would be a full figure eight. It was this guy, and that's because you see it picks up less in front and it rejects a lot over here on each side.
Just a quick shout out to Sounds Active on Twitch, who was the person who originally hosted this interview, and I'm taking some clips from the VOD. Stick around towards the end of the video because after I'm done explaining his entire template process, I'm going to be giving you guys the actual link to the .ptx template file so you guys can use it yourselves and explore it yourselves, integrate it into your own workflow. So here we are in Bainz's template, and the first thing I'm going to look at is the actual 2-track. Now, he has this audio track right here called 2-track, and this is where he obviously puts his 2-track beat. He usually ends up gaining the beat down about 8 dB just to make headroom for the vocal.
When you start, the first thing I do is I clip gain an instrumental down at least 7 to 8 dB. Now, a lot of people say they just turn the volume down. It's not the same because you want your waveforms to kind of all look uniform. You know, if you pay attention to waveforms, you can look at it and know what part of the song you're in.
Another thing he does to just make headroom, he'll take this high pass filter right here, which is EQ1, and he'll use that to cut out any excessive low end on the beat because most of these YouTube 2-track beats come with a lot of unnecessary low end. The next thing he does, which is really unique, is he has an actual edit track here. This edit track is what he uses to create stutters or filter effects. Now, the current plugin he has on here is Filter Freak by Sound Toys, and he uses this to kind of create that underwater sound. So if I want to do that, he'll basically just hit C, go up right here, and paste the beat in right here, and maybe even I'm hitting B and M, and I'm muting the previous place where this was. Now let's move on to the vocal recording processes. Now what you'll notice here is there's two different main vocal tracks. There's vocal 1 and there's vocal 2B. Basically here we have our main recording track, and what happens is the audio gets recorded on here, and then as with any recording template, the vocal gets recorded and it gets dragged down onto a lead track. Now something that's unique about Bainz's template is the actual record track is routed to the main vocal track. Usually people don't do this for latency reasons, but in Bainz's case he needs to have that consistency from track to track. So all these tracks here get routed to this main vocal track up here, which actually has the processing on it, while the auto-tune is on these other vocal tracks that say lead on them. Now something that is also unique to Bainz's template is he has a way of quickly changing all the auto-tune settings. Usually what mixers do is they just go down here and copy and paste one auto-tune plugin every time they want to make a change. However, Bainz has something called auto-tune groups, and if we look down here into the group section, we can see he has various different groups that he uses for selecting auto-tune. In this case, just to simplify things, I'm going to hit auto-tune all, and you can see when I make one change to an auto-tune, for example, if I discover that the key is D instead of E, when I open up any other auto-tune, they will also be changed to D. Another thing that's unique to Bainz's workflow is this playlist track that's up here. Usually recording engineers, what they'll do is they'll just use the playlists that are on the actual recording track itself. However, Bainz likes to have a visual representation of all the takes in its own separate audio track that just displays the playlist up here, and if you notice, this track is muted. So basically this is just a organizational trick that it uses. Now let's go to the part that y'all have been waiting for, which is the actual processing that occurs on the lead vocal in his recording chain. Now This might seem like a lot of plugins, but remarkably, it actually does work out. First thing we have here is Pro Q. Now, I'm on trial for it, but basically what he's doing is he's just taking out harshness up here using that dynamic feature, which is super helpful for Pro Q3. Just taking out some of the S's, any like nasal sounds, anything like that. Next he has the Pro DS from FabFilter. I don't have R compressor or SSLG channel. You guys can open those on your own, but those are there. I assume he's not doing anything crazy with those. Now this is one of his favorite plugins that he uses on his templates, which is the Noveltech Vocal Enhancer right here, and it just kind of adds a little character, a little sparkle in the mid-range, in the high end.
This guy does a lot. The Vocal Enhancer, it just gives you that extra push. But again, I use this only in my recording template.
Next here we have a C6, which is used to control any harshness. Finally, we have this Mag EQ3. A lot of you guys probably know this for its airband, which can really help add even more sparkle to vocals. Finally, just a Purple Audio MC77, just kind of set to the typical 1176 settings just to even out the vocal. RVox just makes things in your face, and it's a great all-around compressor, super light latency, and super easy to use. Moving further down the template, we have a few effect throws. Each of these has autotune on it and Manny M verb.
There's a verb, and a little delay. So what these are, they're 100% wet, and I'll like option drag it down. So a little bit of a Manny over there, and then a delay over here as well. So if I ever want to throw something, instead of having to automate it on the aux, I just, on the send, I would just option drag a clip down and get a quick way to get the effect going.
These are all being sent to a throws aux right here, which he uses to process the throws instead of having to do it on each track. Next we have Vocal 2B, which is the exact same as the first vocals, but say if there's another artist that's on the song, he'll use this right here to record them. Now let's take a look at the actual effects that are on this vocal track here. We have a vocal sidechain, which I don't see actually being used in this session. I assume he just has it, so if one of the plugins actually needs a key input, then he already has something ready to go that he can use. We then have some parallel compression with that 1176, a half note delay, quarter note delay, and a room reverb. Now let's take a look at the actual effects right here. I don't really have any of these plugins, so I can't help you all out with that one. Here's Echo Boy that he has on his quarter note, and interestingly enough, he also has this being sent to the plate, which is cool. We then have the eighth note delay. He's using D-verb, funny enough, for one of these hall reverbs. Then we also have half note Echo Boy right here, pretty basic stuff. And these other plugins on the parallel compression track I do not have, unfortunately. Finally, at the top of the session we have is actual master bus. And on here there is a Shadow Hills mastering compressor, which is pretty unusual to see for some tracking templates. I assume he also has this plugin inactive while he's tracking, because this is one of those plugins that can really cause a ton of session latency. And next we have FabFilter Pro L2. Again, I don't have this plugin, but I assume he keeps this maybe off or at least in the zero latency mode. And this master fader is the last stop here before it goes out to the headphones. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. It took me so long to make this video, and it takes me a long time to gather all this information. Now, I'm sure you guys want the template, and in order to get it, just join my Discord. Link will be in the description below, and you'll see a channel in there called Templates, and the download link will be right there, and that's it. You'll be able to have access to his template. So anyways, I'll see you guys later. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. That's all.